Well, Iran continues to deepen its partnership with Russia. According to a report in the Wall Street Journal, its partnership now includes the exchange of Iranian-made drones for the war in Ukraine with Russian-built surveillance software. For more, we're joined by Colonel Rich Outzen, Senior Fellow at the Atlantic Council. Thank you very much for being with us. According to this report, Russia had been somewhat hesitant to share its cyber assets. That changed, though, when Iran started supplying it with drones. What kind of technology are the Russians providing in return?
Well, the Russians have a sophisticated suite of cyber tools, both defensive for monitoring networks and also for manipulating and attacking networks. So we believe that they've been sharing from a company called Prote, I believe, with Oriental, one of the big cell phone service providers across Iran, the ability to hack, monitor all sorts of traffic, especially that traffic being used by dissidents. So I think this is of particular interest. Iran's sort of a late comer to this game. They didn't really start with cyber tools and this sort of network intrusion and detection stuff until after the 2009 political unrest. So I think that's what they're trying to get from Russia. Russia, for the last few years, has resisted giving its top shelf tools because it's worried about these being sold on the dark web. So I think that since they need Iranian drones and artillery shells and other things, they've broken down that reticence, and now they're starting to provide some offensive cyber tools, both for computers and for cell.
So presumably this would come as a big help to the Iranian regime when it comes to stamping out those protests.
That's right. Yeah. So I think we haven't heard a lot about that, but we do know that the Iranian authorities have been tracing and sending out pictures of people that participate in protests, trying to harass them, trying to locate and do network diagrams to figure out who's talking to whom, and then arresting people, at least in part based on the data that they gathered through such operations.
Well, that's what would happen inside Iran. What about outside Iran? We know that Iran-linked hackers have mounted cyber attacks on US and Israeli infrastructure. Can we expect those attacks to become more sophisticated now?
I think so. Now, again, Iran still wouldn't be in the same league, so to speak, with Russia and China in terms of their ability to do things. They've tried, as you point out, in Israel and in Gulf countries to disrupt supply chains and to target sensitive infrastructure. They've had more failures than successes, but yes, they'll certainly be trying more of that, and I would think that they'll up their game gradually thanks to the help they're getting from the Russians.
Well, the Biden administration has tried to intervene in the supply of Iranian-made drones to Russia via the use of sanctions. Can we expect any sort of intervention here from Washington?
I don't think that there's anything that the United States can do that it's not currently doing short of kinetic activity. There's channels through which they can fly over one another's countries. Physical interdiction of the supply of this sort of thing would be an option, but it's not a step that we're willing to take just yet. I think we have levied layers and layers and layers of sanctions on both of these actors, on both Iran and Russia. It's an adaptive game. They're having an effect for sure. The Russian GDP declined by 2% last year. Iran has suffered under economic sanctions, and there's certain technologies that they are behind in because of the sanctions. We'll keep that up, but I wouldn't expect that we have the tools in terms of sanctions to stop this particular type of information and weapons sharing, especially in the cyber world. The ability to hide things and use the dark web and things that are beyond the reach of the U.S. To immediately interdict without kinetic activity, it's just too hard. It's just too far a task, I think.
Rich Outzen at the Atlantic Council, thank you very much indeed. Great to talk to you.